Hello everyone, welcome to Coding for Complete Beginners course. This course is for complete beginners. So if you have never written a single line of code in your entire life, then this course is for you. Maybe you're interested in tech fields like artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchain, cryptocurrencies, and you want to learn these fields, but you don't know how to code or how to program. Then this course will help you and will take you from the very basics to a comfortable level so that you can explore this community of coders, of programmers, and you can build the things that you have always wanted to build. Now, we're going to start this course with the basics of computer, and by basics, I mean the things that you need to learn coding, to understand how coding works. What is coding, right? So we're going to start with user interface. Now, user interface is an interface through which you interact with a computer. Now, you are using an interface right now to interact with your computer, and the interface that you're using is called a graphical user interface or a GUI. Now, graphical user interface is an interface which contains graphics, icons, windows, buttons. So you are watching this video on YouTube, and YouTube has a graphical user interface that you are using. For example, it has buttons, it has a subscribe button, it has a like button. You are watching this if you are on desktop. You are watching this on a browser. So browser has its own window. You might have some other application which have their own separate windows. So it's the most common interface that an average computer user uses to interact with the computer. Now, some of the early graphical user interface computers were, the first one was Xerox Alto. It was invented in 1973. Then came Xerox Star. It was developed in 1981. So as you can see, they have these mouse and these keyboards, and they have a screen. And then Apple, they got inspired by Xerox, and they created their own GUI computer. It was called Apple Lisa. It was developed in 1983. And then in 1984, they create Macintosh. And as you can see, this is how graphical user interface used to look like in the past. Now we have more developed, more beautiful GUIs, right? And we know all these things, but what we don't know is command line interface, or a CLI. So a command line interface before GUI, command line was the main way to interact with a computer. Most of the computer programmers still use a command line interface because it is a lot faster than GUI, and it gives you a lot more control over your computer. Now, most of the programs that you are going to use, most of the softwares that you are going to use as a computer programmer, it's going to be a CLI based software. Now, you might have used a lot of softwares in the past, for example, Microsoft Word, uh, or your browser which you're using right now. They all are a GUI based software. But as a computer programmer, you're going to use a lot of softwares which are based on command line, and that's the reason it's really important to learn how to use a command line. Now, this is how a command line looks like. You can see you type some command, and the computer processes this command, and it gives you an output. Then you type some other command, and this is how a command line works. Now, before we move on, I want to talk a little bit about operating system. So, an operating system is something that allows you to access the capabilities of your computer. So, for example, if you have a computer or a laptop and it does not have any operating system installed on it, so it does not have Windows or Mac or whatever, then you can't really do anything with that computer. It's basically useless. You can't, for example, you can't watch this video without an operating system. So it allows you to access the hardware capabilities of your computer. And every modern operating system have both a CLI and a GUI. So for example, Windows, it has a GUI which we all have used. Mac also has a GUI which we have used, but they also have a CLI. Both of these operating systems have a CLI. Now, a little bit of history. During the 1960s or 1970s, uh, there was an operating system. It was invented during that time. It's called the Unix operating system, and it's called the father of most operating system because most of the operating systems are based on Unix. So Linux and Mac, they both are based on Unix. What I mean by that is Linux. If you type some command in Linux, that same command will also work on Mac. And the reason for that is both of them are based on Unix operating system. Linux is called a Unix-like operating system. Mac is called a true Unix operating system. And the reason for that, it's a little bit of a legal reason. To be called a true Unix operating system, you have to get certified by there's this institute, it's called an open group. You have to get certified by them, you have to follow a lot of standard, you have to pay a lot of money to get that certification to be called a true Unix operating system. And Linux does not have that because they don't believe in such kind of certificates. But that's not the point here. The point is both of these operating systems are based on Unix. The problem here is that you don't see Windows on the screen because Windows is not based on the Unix operating system. And that is a problem because if you type some command in Linux or Mac, they both will work on Linux and Mac. But that same command will not work on Windows because it's not based on the Unix operating system. And that's the reason the Unix based operating system and the non-Unix based operating system, they have different commands. And we are going to learn about these commands in the next video. We are going to explore what the command line interface is, how to use it. We are going to learn 2 or 3 commands so that we are comfortable with the command line interface. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and comment down below what are your thoughts on this video, how I can improve these videos. Do you like it or you hated it? And thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.